And even if you are in your business now and it's already running, it's not silly to have to do this now, you know, ex post facto starting your business. Anybody?
Shane, how many businesses? You have several businesses. Do you write a plan for each one of them, or?
Not like a, more of like a, we have multiple meetings. I don't know that, when I first originally started the whole thing, I had a written out business plan, just everything really spelled out. Because it was all new to me too. Because that was my first business plan that I had written. So that helped me to think out the process of what this needs to look like. But as we've expanded and, you know, we're up to 4 or 5 different companies that we are now, it's more been discussed as a team, a lot of notes written out, and kind of developed that way. So in a sense, it hasn't been a written out business plan every time. It kind of adapts with each endeavor.
Well, I think it goes without saying we're all entrepreneurs, right? We're all growing and going in so many different directions. The biggest thing you must do is you gotta write it down. You know, just so you think it out. Big stuff, and I'm a single brain self-married male. My skill level is quite low, so I've got to write these things down. And it's easily, you get off track. And you're chasing the squirrels, because a lot of us have ADHD, it's part of the business. So, and like myself, I'm launching a brand new product. And I've got a lot of hats. And I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta address this. And then next thing you know, you're going down that rabbit hole, you keep on following. And then months later, I open up that drawer, and I'm like, oh shit, in my language, I'm supposed to do that. So write these things down, and they're fluid. You know, don't be regimental and stick to it, because if you're not dynamic and adjust and make changes, you've already lost.
But write it, hold yourself accountable for that, because if you don't write it, you change it mentally, but then you don't stick to the plan. That's what I found for myself, that helps me. So hold yourself accountable by writing it at least.
And then refer back to it. You don't just write it and stick it in the drawer. Right. I mean, I assume, Chris, with you, how many times did you have to read off Carly before you got it to where you wanted it to be?
All right, I'm an amateur at all this. Always have to, you know. Built multi-million-dollar custom homes for 40 years. And when you build a house, you start with your plans. You start with the architects, the engineers. You do all this work before you even break ground. You know, custom home has 72 different subcontractors, 18 things you have to order for those contractors, windows, tile, on and on. So there's so many parts and pieces. If I just hopped in and said, okay, I'm going to build an 8,000 square foot Tuscany style home, and it's going to be on a ½ acre, and it's on a landscape the front and back, and it's going to have a big fountain, and you know, that's my dream, that's my goal. But without the rest of it, how am I even possibly going to get to the first step? The problem with a new business plan or a new businessman or woman doing a business plan is, what does that mean? What do I start? I don't know what I don't know, and I can't quite, I can write down, well, I'm going to need, you know, parts and pieces and material and inventory, and I'm going to buy a van and put all this stuff in it, or I'm going to get a little location. You know, you can do that stuff, but business plans expand, you know, so it goes, to me, along with your goals. You know, come up with your goals, you know, I want to do $250,000 a year within 3 years, and I want to have, once I hit that, I'm going to expand to another location, or I'm doing mobile now, I'm going to add another van, and once I have 3 vans, then I'm going to be big enough to get a small location. When I say small location, I see too many new businessmen what they're trying to do is impress the other detailers on Facebook, and they get this 4,000 square foot building, and they put on all the wonderful equipment, and it looks up in the floor, and they spend all this money. And let me help you with this, I don't mind. The first of the month comes around every month, whether you are ready for it or not. And guess what? All those detailers you're trying to impress, or the people you're trying to, and you may not think you're trying to impress them, but I can assure you it's ego driven. Solution Finish pumps out tens of thousands of bottles a month, right? My manufacturing plant is 1,250 square feet.
Yep.
Right, Richard?
Absolutely, yep. And there's a huge team there.
I have it set up where the parts and pieces, the chemicals come in, it's batch, bottled, capped, labeled, boxed, goes around, and it's out. Pallet full, pallet full, pallet full. I'm not trying to impress anybody, but you have to have a well laid out location, So business plan to me was always, we talk business plan, to me it's a mind plan. You take a big whiteboard and you say, professional auto detailer. Okay, what is that? Okay, and I start thinking of things that have to do with that. And then over here, I'll add to it. So I'm always adding, and you say, oh yeah, shit, marketing. Well, what does marketing mean? Social media, word of mouth, flyers, so you keep on expanding, and that's the. Sorry, I got my hearing aid in, and that connects. So, but anyway, a business plan is goals, like you would have your personal goals. It's the goals for your company, and you learn to add to it by talking to professionals. Say, I'm kind of stuck on this. If you're not hooking up with mentors, then you're not going to be as successful as you can. Call the guys. Everyone here on my panel has a wealth of knowledge. Say, I'm kind of stuck here. I don't know what to do. How did you do it? Can I see what you've got going on? So business plan. If you know what to put on your friggin' business plan, there's many books on it. There's a million things templates that will get you started. Get a business plan template, and it will ask you the questions you don't know to ask. It will ask you things that you didn't know you should fill out. And I'm talking about accounting and taxes and books. What are you going to do? You're going to go with online book accounting system. You're going to QuickBooks. I mean, you got to figure out everything else, because I can assure you, if you get successful and you don't pay attention, you're going to find you owe $60,000 in taxes, and you've just been barely hanging on. You don't know how you're going to even pay taxes. Don't let that go. Save everything. Part of your business plan has to be business, marketing, taxes, accounting, taxes, accounting. You don't want anybody else looking over your shoulder, and you don't want to owe anybody. Don't use credit cards. Buy what you can afford. It's like student debt. People end up with $60,000 worth of debt, and they haven't done shit yet. Don't spend $12,000 of borrowed money to make your shop look cool. You're only going to be cool to the customer you're talking to, and your knowledge is what's going to hook them in, not how your graphics on the wall. In my humble opinion.
And the sources that you can use, like you said, you can use a template. You can go to a lawyer and have it done. I have really over the last year immersed myself in utilizing ChatGPT for so many things. And sometimes you'll hear like, oh, that's gonna give you other people's information or something. But the more prompts that you put in for that, so if you have like all of these ideas written down, like I wanna write a business plan for an auto detailing business, and these are all the things that I wanna have in there, and it will structure it for you and just spit it out a really beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
and then you add to it. So a couple of the things that we want to talk about is like analytics, right? What do you think you need to analyze, and then goals. And the thing is like Chris is saying, and I'm glad you mentioned that. You don't just think about like today, right? I want to own an auto detailing business and I want to be successful. You think about down the road. How much money do I need to have before I can get that van? How much money in our business, we have it literally, we write it down and it's a goal, and it's a revenue goal before we hire fill in the blank, another developer, another SEO person, another web designer, whatever it is, you have those goals. And it is fluid, because if something happens and you know, you get an opportunity, then you've got to switch and change that. But constantly revisit it and look at, the analytics have to be measurable and attainable. Okay, you can't just go, I'm gonna make $5 million next year. And it's great. How are you gonna do that? How much are you making this year? Well, I made $65,000. Okay, probably not gonna hit that $5 million mark if you do the same thing you did this year. So you've gotta hit those numbers by looking at stuff. You look at the profit margin and what that's gonna give you and where that money is gonna go.
And